Today, for Fiction Friday, we're reading the final part of Chapter 3 in our ongoing book, Lad, a Dog, by Albert Payson Terhune. In the last chapter, Lad and his human friend Baby were sitting out by the lake when a copperhead snake attacked. Lad bravely defended Baby from the poisonous snake and killed it, but he got bit in the process. And in all the shock, Baby, previously unable to walk due to illness, started to walk to get the attention of her mother about the whole affair. Such drama! Let's see what happens next together, okay? As always, the link to the ebook is in the description below. Chapter 3, Part 5, A Miracle of Two. The child had walked! She whose lower motive centers, the wise doctors had declared, were hopelessly paralyzed. She who could never hope to twitch so much as a single toe or feel any sensation from the hips downward. Small wonder that both guest and master seemed to have caught, for the moment, some of the paralysis that so magically departed from the invalid. And yet, as a corps of learned physicians later agreed, there was no miracle, no magic about it. Baby's was not the first, nor the 1000th case in pathological history, in which paralyzed sensory powers had been restored to their normal functions by means of a shock. The child had had no malformation, no accident to injure the spine or the coordination between the limbs and the brain. A long illness had left her powerless. Country air and new interests in life had gradually built up wasted tissues. A shock had re-established communication between brain and lower body, a communication that had been suspended, not broken. When at last there was room in any of the human minds for aught but blank wonder and gratitude, the joyously weeping mother was made to listen to the child's story of the fight with the snake, a story corroborated by the master's find of the copperhead's half-severed body. I'll get down on my knees and apologize to that heaven-sent dog," sobbed the guest. "Oh, I wish some of you would beat me as I beat him. I'd feel so much better. Where is he?" The question brought no answer. Lad had vanished. Nor could eager callings and searchings bring him to view. The master, returning from a shout-punctuated hunt through the forest, made Baby tell her story all over again. Then he nodded. "I understand," he said, feeling a ludicrously unmanly desire to cry. "I see how it was. The snake must have bitten him, at least once, probably oftener, and he knew what that meant. Lad knows everything. Knew everything, I mean. If he had known a little less, he'd have been human. But if he had been human, he probably wouldn't have thrown away his life for Baby." "Thrown away his life?" repeated the guest. I don't understand. Surely I didn't strike him hard enough to—" "No," returned the master, "but the snake did." "You mean he has—" "I mean it is in the nature of all animals to crawl away alone in the forest to die. They are more considerate than we. They try to cause no further trouble to those they have loved. Lad got his death from the copperhead's fangs. He knew it. And while we were all taken up with the wonder of Baby's cure, he quietly went away to die." The mistress got up hurriedly and left the room. She loved the great dog, as she loved few humans. The guest dissolved into a flood of sloppy tears. "And I beat him," she wailed. "I beat him horribly. And all the time he was dying from the poison that had saved my child. Oh, I'll never forgive myself for this, the longest day I live." "The longest day is a long day," dryly commented the master, "and self-forgiveness is the easiest of all lessons to learn. After all, Lad was only a dog. That's why he is dead." The place's atmosphere tingled with jubilation over the child's cure. Her uncertain but always successful efforts at walking were an hourly delight. But through the general joy, the mistress and the master could not always keep their faces bright. Even the guests mourned frequently, and loudly and eloquently the passing of Lad. And Baby was openly inconsolable at the loss of her chum. At dawn on the morning of the 4th day, the master let himself silently out of the house for his usual before-breakfast cross-country tramp, a tramp on which, for years, Lad had always been his companion. Heavy-hearted, the master prepared to set forth alone. As he swung the veranda door behind him, something arose stiffly from a porch rug, something the master looked at in a daze of disbelief. It was a dog, yet no such dog had ever before sullied the cleanness of the place's well-scoured veranda. The animal's body was lean to emaciation. The head was swollen, though apparently the swelling had begun to recede. The fur, from spine to toe, from nose to tail tip, was one solid and shapeless mass of caked mud. The master sat down very suddenly on the veranda floor beside the dirt-encrusted brute and caught it in his arms, sputtering disjointedly. "Lad! Laddie! Old friend! You're alive again! You're alive!" Yes, Lad had known enough to creep away to the woods to die. But thanks to the wolf strain in his collie blood, he had also known how to do something far wiser than die. 3 days of self-burial in the very nostrils, in the mysteriously healing ooze of the marshes, behind the forest, had done for him what such mud baths have done for millions of wild creatures. It had drawn out the viper poison and had left him whole again, thin, shaky on the legs, slightly swollen of head, but whole. He's awfully dirty, though, isn't he?" commented the guest, when an idiotic triumph yell from the master had summoned the whole family, in sketchy attire, to the veranda. "Awfully dirty, and yes," curtly assented the master, Lad's head between his caressing hands, "awfully dirty. That's why he is still alive." "Oh, thank goodness! Lad survived the snake's bite. I'm so happy. That would have been a super sad ending to our story, even if Lad had died bravely and selflessly saving the life of Baby. Of course, Lad has to die at some point, because these stories are very old, and dogs don't live forever, but not now, not so young. Did you know that Lad's home, the land that the place sat on, is near my home in New Jersey? My mommy and daddy took me to see it the other day, and it was fun exploring the park that now sits there, with a memorial for Lad and his eventual gravesite, as well as ladies and all the other dogs that lived at the place. Probably the coolest part of the memorial sites are the canine police dogs that are laid to rest and honored there for the township. We talked about canine working dogs last week for Wiki Wednesday, remember? We even saw the lake and the spot that Lad and Baby were sitting at for this whole chapter. All my pictures and videos are up on Instagram if you follow me there at Pupper Pie. Even if you can't make it to the place yourself, you can share in my journey there. Well, that's all for today, friends. Next week, we'll be starting a new chapter in Lad. I can't wait to see what happens next in Lad's life. And be sure to come back on Monday for a new Music Monday song, and Wednesday for the beginning of our next Wiki series for February. Thanks for hanging out with me today.